Imagine waking up, grabbing your coffee, checking your business analytics, and just realizing that 30% of your online foot traffic just vanished.
Just completely gone overnight.
Right, gone.
Yeah.
And not because your product got worse, and not because the competitor outspent you on ads or something.
Yeah, but because the search engine itself just decided to give your answers away for free.
Exactly.
Right.
Right there on the results page. Welcome to The Learner, and to all of you navigating this, well, completely shifting digital terrain. Welcome to another deep dive.
It is great to be here.
So I want to anchor us firmly in time right off the bat. The exact date is August 1st, 2026.
Right.
Everything we are unpacking is a reflection of the technology and SEO landscape exactly on this date, August 1st, 2026. We're looking at a fundamentally transformed internet. Over the past few months, the whole concept of a search engine has mutated into what we're calling the intelligent search box era.
Mutated is definitely the right word for it.
Right, so our mission for this deep dive is to figure out these new rules of discovery using a really dense SEO technology report from August 1st, 2026. It is just fascinating how fast the web is changing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we are essentially watching the underlying architecture of the web being rewired in real time. But, we need to look past just the surface level changes of how people are finding information in August 2026.
Right, because it's deeper than that.
Exactly. We really have to examine the mechanics of who's actually controlling that flow of data now. And, more importantly, the new infrastructure being built to monetize it.
Yeah. So to you listening, whether you're a content creator, a small business owner, or really just someone who uses the internet every day, the very fabric of how you access information has just been completely rewritten.
It really has.
So let's just start right at the front door of the internet, which is the search box.
Yeah.
For a long time, we basically thought of search as a retrieval mechanism.
Right. You type some keywords, it hands you a list of destinations, 10 blue links.
Exactly, the 10 blue links. But since May 2026, Google's intelligent search box, which is powered by Gemini 3.5 Flash, has been the default experience. It doesn't just retrieve stuff anymore. It expands queries, and it takes multimodal inputs.
And that shift from text-only to multimodal, that is the critical mechanical difference here.
Break that down a bit.
Well, you aren't just typing how to fix a pipe anymore, right? You are literally uploading a photo of your specific leaking sink, maybe speaking a follow-up question into your phone while you do it.
Right.
And then the system is synthesizing a custom diagnostic response just for you.
Which is wild. And speaking of images, Google Images just turned 25 in July 2026.
Yeah, happy birthday to them.
Right. And they mark the occasion by baking AI image generation directly into those AI overviews.
Right.
Like, if a diagram doesn't exist to explain your problem, the engine it just draws one for you on the fly.
It just creates it. And with Chrome's new AI mode, you can pull up a website side by side with that exact AI experience.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you never actually have to leave the search ecosystem.
Which brings us back to that terrifying 30% number I mentioned at the start of the deep dive. For pages that are not actively featured or, cited in the AI response, their organic clicks are being suppressed by over 30%.
Yeah, it's a massive hit. And that suppression happens because the transaction is just completed on the search page itself.
Right. The user gets what they need.
Exactly. If the AI perfectly synthesizes the answer, the user has absolutely zero incentive to click a link. For traditional businesses that spent, the last decade optimizing to be a destination, a 30% haircut in organic traffic is catastrophic.
It really breaks the economic model of most content-driven websites. But wait, let me push back on this for a second. If the AI is intercepting the user before they ever reach the website, isn't the whole concept of traditional websites basically dead?
Yeah.
It feels like Google has just built a massive walled garden and completely locked the gates.
It is a walled garden, yes. But the thing is, Google is no longer the only property owner in town.
Oh.
We're moving from this single-engine monopoly to a really fragmented, multi-engine reality. We are seeing ChatGPT now command roughly 20% of search-related traffic.
20%, that's huge.
It is an enormous structural shift.
Yeah.
And the way these alternative engines are operating, it's actually expanding the surface area of what a search even is.
Yeah, the Yelp deal is a perfect example of that expansion, actually. In July 2026, Yelp formally licensed its real-time local data directly to OpenAI.
Such a smart move.
Right, because before that, an AI might really struggle to tell you if a local cafe was open right now or, if it had good reviews from just yesterday. But now ChatGPT has this direct, real-time pipeline to local business reality.
And when you combine that Yelp data with OpenAI's new GPT-Live voice models, the behavioral shift just becomes completely obvious.
Yeah, people are literally just talking to their phones.
Exactly. People are conducting these complex multi-step queries while they're driving or walking the dog. They're having a hyper-realistic verbal conversation with an AI that actually knows the local inventory and reviews.
It's like having a digital concierge.
Yes. The user isn't staring at a screen of links anymore. They are asking a concierge for a recommendation.
Which means the algorithms dictating those recommendations are totally split now. Earning visibility, it isn't just this one monolith anymore.
Not at all.
Like, Perplexity's algorithm is intensely focused on recent authoritative sources. It wants explicit citations. It really leans into that academic rigor.
Right, it wants proof.
Exactly. But then ChatGPT is heavily indexing on conversational depth and EEAT signals. So that's experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness.
Yeah, those are huge right now.
And meanwhile, Claude seems to heavily favor nuanced, well-reasoned content over just spitting out quick facts.
So navigating that multi-engine reality is really the primary challenge as of August 2026. You just cannot optimize for a single bot anymore. You have to feed all these distinct algorithmic appetites.
It really feels like we've gone from, handing someone a library card and just hoping they walk down the aisle and pull your book off the shelf, to fighting to be the quoted expert on a live news broadcast.
That is a great analogy.
Thanks. I mean, the AI is the news anchor, and you desperately want it to cite you directly, but that forces a really big technical question.
What's that?
If the search box has become this synthesized news broadcast, how do you actually get the producer's attention? How do you get these different AI crawlers to actually read and prioritize your specific data?
Right, and that brings us to the actual mechanics of Generative Engine Optimization, or GEO.
GEO replacing SEO.
Exactly. Traditional SEO was all about tweaking HTML tags to rank higher on a visual list.
Yeah.
But GEO is about structuring your data so an AI's large language model can seamlessly inject it into its context window.
Seamlessly being the keyword.
Right, and the foundational tool for this, at least in August 2026, is the llms.txt file.
Okay, I want to really break down how this actually works for the listener, because for years, webmasters used an XML sitemap. And that is basically just a directory map telling search engines, hey, here are all my URLs, please index them.
Yeah, the classic sitemap.
Right. But an llms.txt file, it sits alongside that sitemap and serves a totally different function.
A completely different function, because an XML sitemap points a bot to web pages, and that forces the bot to scrape through all the formatting, the drop-down menus, the pop-up ads, all that HTML soup just to find the actual content.
Ugh, the HTML soup.
Right, but an llms.txt file eliminates all that friction. It uses clean, structured markdown to provide just a pure text-only distillation of your highest value information.
So you are essentially pre-digesting your expertise for the AI.
Exactly. You are literally telling the bot, look, don't even bother trying to parse my web page design. Here is the raw intelligence you need to train on or synthesize.
It is basically a VIP menu printed exclusively for the bots to digest.
That's exactly what it is.
But, just handing a bot a clean text file doesn't mean it's actually going to trust the information inside it.
Oh, definitely not.
And that is where those EET signals come into play. We've talked about experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness for years as kind of a soft guideline. But looking at the landscape post-May 2026 core update, these are hard, measurable ranking signals now.
And honestly, they have to be. I mean, we are living in a moment where synthetic AI-generated content can be produced at infinite scale and at basically near zero cost.
Infinite scale.
Right. So if search engines don't aggressively filter for human authority, their results page just becomes an Ouroboros. It's just AI training on other AI content until the information degrades into absolute nonsense.
We are already seeing the results of that filtering in the real-world data. If you look at the SRP volatility metrics for August 2026, it's wild. Reddit now owns 10.24% of the top 3 search positions.
Over 10%.
Yeah, which is up from 9.19% just back in March. And meanwhile, a massive video platform like YouTube actually dropped to 2.14%. Google is actively rewarding small blogs and forums over faceless corporate domains.
Because the search engines are deliberately hunting for non-synthetic data.
Right.
Like a corporate blog post can be spun up by a language model in 5 seconds. But a sprawling, chaotic Reddit thread about fixing a hyper-specific transmission issue on a 2012 Honda Civic.
Yeah, that contains real lived experience.
Exactly. It has messy, subjective, real-world friction that AI just can't fake.
Okay, but let me challenge this for a second. If Google's heavy-handed solution to an influx of AI content is to just elevate Reddit and personal blogs, aren't they just trading one massive problem for another?
What do you mean?
Well, Reddit isn't exactly the gold standard for peer-reviewed accuracy, right?
Yeah.
It is so often just an echo chamber of subjective opinions. So how does pushing users into a random subreddit actually solve the problem of finding factual answers?
Well, it doesn't solve the problem of absolute factual perfection, but it does solve the problem of authenticity.
Authenticity.
Right. The AI companies know they can use their own models to extract facts, right? They can verify claims against established databases.
Sure.
But what they cannot generate on their own is lived human experience. Subjectivity, even when it's messy or even slightly inaccurate, it proves that a human being was actually on the other side of the keyboard.
Ah, I see.
They are optimizing for humanity because humanity is literally the only data source they cannot synthesize.
Wow, that is a great way to put it. And that actually completely explains the timing of Google's open knowledge format update.
Oh yeah, version 0.2.
Yep, on July 29, 2026, they launched version 0.2, and it added 5 new trust signals to assess content credibility. And for listeners who aren't, software engineers, this connects to something called schema markup.
Right, the invisible code.
Exactly. It's invisible code you put on your site to label things for the machines. So instead of just writing "I am an author" on your About page, the code explicitly tags your bio, your credentials, your entire publication history, all in a language the machine instantly verifies.
And I'll tell you right now, if you are not implementing those specific trust signals, you are essentially invisible to the modern crawler.
Invisible.
Completely. The tolerance for low quality or ambiguous technical setups is basically zero right now. I mean, just days ago, in late July, Google announced this massive crackdown on spammed, auto-generated search box pages.
Oh, I saw that. It's hitting WordPress sites hard.
Really hard. We see this all the time where a CMS, the software running the website is configured poorly.
Right.
And it just automatically generates thousands of thin, meaningless URLs based on internal site searches.
And Google is treating those auto-generated pages with the exact same severity as hacked content now. It is a massive red flag for site quality.
Absolutely. If your CMS is injecting conflicting metadata or just spitting out infinite low-quality pages, it tanks your entire domain's credibility.
Which means the barrier to entry has fundamentally changed. Like 5 years ago, you could game a search engine with clever metadata and just keyword density.
Oh, totally.
But today, in August 2026, SEO and public relations are functionally identical. You have to prove, through cryptographically secure metadata, verifiable authorship, real-world press mentions, that you are a genuine human entity with real authority.
Yes. You have to prove you're real.
So the playbook is pretty clear. Clean up your technical architecture, use the llms.txt file to handbots your best data, and prove you are a human being. Right. But how does anyone actually track whether this is working?
The million-dollar question.
Right, because if the AI is answering the user's question in a voice conversation on a smartphone, there is no traditional click to measure.
Right. The analytics industry has been scrambling to catch up to this reality for months, but we are finally seeing the infrastructure mature. Google's Search Console just executed a massive global expansion on July 29, 2026.
Platform properties?
Exactly, introducing platform properties.
This is such a fascinating pivot to me. Search Console used to just tell you how your website performed on Google Search. But now, with platform properties, a creator can globally track how their TikTok videos, their YouTube shorts, and their Instagram posts are surfacing across Google Search and Discover.
Yeah, Google finally recognizes that the web is fragmented. So they are turning their old webmaster tool into this huge multi-platform visibility dashboard.
And they also fully integrated the generative AI performance reports that they started rolling out back in June.
Yep, that's huge. You can now explicitly track your impressions inside AI overviews and inside Chrome's AI mode.
So you can see exactly how many times the Gemini engine used your data to synthesize an answer, even if the user never clicked through to your actual site.
Exactly. But, knowing Google's data is really only solving a fraction of the problem, right?
Right, because we already established ChatGPT owns 20% of the traffic now.
Yeah. So you need third-party tools to see the whole board. And the market is adjusting really rapidly to that. Semrush One is basically the command center for this in August 2026.
And that's about, what, $120 a month?
Yeah, $119.95 a month for their pro tier. And they aren't just showing keyword rankings anymore. They've deployed these generative AI copilots that simultaneously simulate and track your visibility across ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Google all at once.
That is incredible. The entire software ecosystem is just abandoning volume metrics for quality metrics. Like if you look at legacy AI writing tools like Writesonic or AirOps, their business models have flipped completely.
Completely flipped.
Yeah, Writesonic's professional plan is running $249 a month now. And they aren't selling that old promise of, generate 1,000 blog posts with one click. That era is dead.
Thank goodness.
Right. Their entire platform is now built around human-in-the-loop, quality control, automated fact-checking, and deploying the exact schema markup we just talked about.
Because the realization across the whole industry is that just generating content has zero marginal value anymore.
Zero.
The value lies entirely in distribution and monetization. And while creators and brands are desperately figuring out how to track their visibility, the platforms themselves are aggressively commercializing the AI space.
Oh, the engines are cashing in.
Big time. OpenAI surpassed $100 million in annual recurring revenue from their ChatGPT ads pilot way back in March 2026.
Wow.
And they are already expanding that into Canada, Australia, and New Zealand.
But wait, this brings up a huge issue. If AI is suppressing clicks by 30%, and the search engines are the ones making all the ad revenue on the synthesis, how does the creator survive?
And this brings us to what is probably the most radical structural shift we've seen in the technology landscape as of August 2026.
We're talking about the complete collapse of the internet's original social contract.
Exactly. For 2 decades, the agreement was simple, right? Website owners allowed search engines to scrape their hard work for free.
Yep.
And in exchange, the search engines acted as a directory and sent free organic traffic back to the website. It was a barter system.
But with these zero-click AI answers, the bots are still taking all the data, but they aren't sending any traffic back. The barter system is fundamentally broken.
Precisely. And this is where infrastructure giants are stepping in to build an entirely new economy. In July 2026, Cloudflare launched the Attribution Business Insights and Monetization Gateway.
Okay, that is a profound shift in how the internet functions. Let's explain this. Because Cloudflare operates as an edge network, meaning they sit exactly between a website server and the open internet.
Right, in the middle.
Right. Every single request, whether it is a human on a laptop or an AI crawler bot from OpenAI, it has to pass through Cloudflare's servers first.
And because they sit at that edge, they have total visibility. The attribution dashboard allows a publisher to see the exact signature of every single AI agent attempting to scrape their content.
So they know if it's Gemini or Perplexity or just some startup crawler.
Exactly. And the monetization gateway gives that publisher a physical mechanism to actually block them.
It's an infrastructure-level toll booth. You can literally tell the bot, you cannot parse my llms.txt file, you cannot read my API, and you cannot scrape my blog unless you pay a microtransaction.
It replaces organic traffic with data licensing as the primary economic driver of the web.
That is wild to think about.
It is. If an AI company wants to train its model on your proprietary lived experience, or if it wants to synthesize your local business data into a real-time voice response, it has to compensate you financially. We're watching the real-time financialization of web scraping.
It makes complete sense why major publishers and datasets are just rushing to implement this. I mean, if the traffic is gone, you have to extract the cache somehow. The open web is effectively closing behind an automated machine-to-machine paywall.
It really is.
Okay, let's just pause and map out the ground we've covered, because the sheer scale of change as of August 1st, 2026 is immense.
It's a lot to take in.
It really is. We started with the transition to the intelligent search box, where multimodal inputs and AI synthesis are actively suppressing traditional website clicks. Then we walked through the fragmentation of search, forcing everyone to optimize for different AI algorithms using new technical standards, like the llms.txt file.
Yep, feeding the bots.
Right. Then we unpacked why raw, subjective human experience is being so heavily rewarded by systems that are just desperate for non-synthetic data. And finally, we've ended on this macroeconomic shift where tools like Cloudflare's Monetization Gateway are allowing the web to finally charge AI for access.
It is a totally cohesive timeline when you look at it. The AI technology evolved the method of discovery, right?
Right.
Which immediately broke the economic model of free traffic,
Right.
which in turn birthed an entirely new data licensing infrastructure.
It forces every single person operating online to completely rethink their value. But before we close out this deep dive, I want to look at the horizon for a second. If this Cloudflare toll booth model becomes the default standard for the web, where does that leave us?
Well, it creates a fascinating and frankly somewhat troubling secondary effect.
How so?
Think about it. If major publishers, massive news organizations, and large platforms successfully gate their content and charge steep licensing fees to AI companies, the AI will naturally only train on and synthesize data it can actually afford to access.
Oh, wow.
Right, so this raises a critical question for you to mull over. Will the AI-generated answers of the future only reflect the perspectives and the truths of the corporations wealthy enough to negotiate these licensing deals?
That is a scary thought.
Yeah. If independent creators, small blogs, or niche forums can't easily navigate the legal and technical friction of this new gateway, do their voices just simply vanish from the AI's training data entirely?
So if you aren't big enough to set up a toll booth, or if the AI companies decide your data just isn't worth the microtransaction, your expertise just ceases to exist in the machine's memory.
Exactly.
The AI's worldview becomes entirely corporate. That is a heavy structural consequence to think about.
It really is.
Well, to you, the learner, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the technology landscape of August 1st, 2026. We hope it gives you a much clearer lens to view the changes happening behind the screen.
Absolutely.
Next time you type an image prompt or speak a question into that search box, take a second to think about the vast, invisible economy operating just beneath the surface to bring you that answer. See you next time.